Hey everyone, how's it going? Thanks so much for tuning in. For today's video, we're going to be taking an in-depth look into the 2017 Alfa Romeo Giulia. In this review, I'm going to start it up, show the engine, get an exhaust clip, and go over the performance data. Of course, I'll take it on a thorough drive, compare some of the key differences between the entry models and the Quadrifoglio, and show you many of the unique aspects throughout the interior as well as exterior. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and hop on in, start her up, and let her run. Along with a remote access smart key system, all Giulias come standard with push-button ignition. To start, just make sure you have the key fob within the interior, then put your foot on the brake and hit the steering wheel mounted button to go. A few months ago, I had the chance to spend a day with the 505 horsepower Giulia Quadrifoglio. With a Ferrari-engineered twin-turbo V6 under the hood, it was an incredible experience to say the least. The only downside was that I didn't have more time to really dive into what makes the Giulia such a unique addition to the segment. After all, this is an important car for Alfa Romeo as it's set to compete against the segment's heavy hitters, including but not limited to the BMW 3 Series, Jaguar XE, and the Cadillac ATS. That's certainly no small task. Sure, the Quadrifoglio is blisteringly fast and sounds incredible, but it also starts at $73,595. On the other end of the spectrum, a turbo 4-cylinder Giulia begins at $38,990, or $40,990 for the Giulia TI. All of these prices include a $995 destination fee. To be honest, I was just as excited about testing the non-quads because, let's face it, they're at a far more accessible price point and are what most people will be looking into. The Giulia and Giulia TI share the same core DNA as the Quadrifoglio. The chassis, steering, and overall behavior of the car make it an absolute joy to drive and a segment leader in driver feedback, regardless of the powertrain. The Giulia's all-new rear-wheel drive architecture benefits from a high-strength steel body that extensively uses lightweight materials to help keep weight down where it matters the most. For example, aluminum makes up the front and rear subframes, front shock towers, hood, doors, the front and rear door frames, fenders, and various suspension components. All Giulia models feature a class-exclusive carbon fiber drive shaft, a key component in achieving the car's near-perfect 50-50 weight distribution. What I appreciated the most about this car is how everything works together in harmony, from the way it drives to how it looks. The bodywork is simply beautiful. It's a fresh face that caters to those who love to express themselves and who have an appreciation for design and detail. Plus, if you opt for the Sport Appearance package like the one shown here, you get more aggressive front and rear fascias, gloss black window surround moldings, painted brake calipers, and unique wheels. For me, this is the segment's new benchmark. Sure, it has some quirks, but what really matters is how this thing hits the road. In every measure I can think of, including ride quality, handling, braking, steering, and performance, the Giulia shines brightly. The only thing lacking, at least for the North American market, is the option of a manual transmission. One thing is for sure, this car is full of emotion. If you're not already an Alfista, you will be after driving one. This all-wheel drive tester isn't a TI, but it is very well equipped. Total MSRP for what you see here, including destination, is $45,890. Between the Giulia and Giulia TI, there's 7 different wheel styles to choose from, ranging between 17 and 19 inches in diameter. The dark gray 18 by 8 inch wheels shown here are part of an optional Sport Appearance package for the Giulia. They're wrapped in 225/45 all-season performance tires that can hold about 0.85 G of lateral acceleration. The Giulia is brought to a stop from 60 miles an hour at about 123 feet thanks to 4-wheel internally ventilated disc brakes. Up front, you'll find 13-inch discs paired to 4-piston calipers. Supporting the rear are 12.5-inch discs and single-piston calipers. With Alfa Romeo's innovative integrated braking system, you don't have a traditional electronic stability control unit and brake booster. It's all combined into a single electromechanical system that measures brake pedal stroke, delivers the appropriate amount of pedal feedback, and relays this information to provide the necessary level of stopping power that's almost perfectly proportionate to how much pressure you apply to the pedal. It's highly communicative and even allows for the ability to vary brake pedal feel through the Giulia's drive modes, but more on that in just a bit. Curb weight for our tester is about 3,450 pounds. Alfa Romeo claims that the Giulia's torsional rigidity is class-leading and that the steering is more direct than any other competitor, which sounds like the perfect recipe for a proper sports sedan. All you need to do is take a drive through some countryside and hit some curves. You might even describe it as being telepathic in the way that it handles and responds to your inputs. Most importantly, straight line stability is spot on. This car is just as happy in the turns as it is on long highway trips. The steering ratio is a tight 11.8 to 1, and it takes just 2.3 turns to lock. The rack and pinion design features variable electric power assistance. The turning circle is measured at 37.5 feet. Underpinning the Giulia is a fully independent suspension with double wishbones in front and a semi-virtual steering axle, while the rear is supported by a patented Alpha Link design with a vertical rod link. Adaptive dampers are added with the available performance package on the Giulia TI. All Giulias come equipped with Alfa Romeo's DNA Drive Mode Selector. Dynamic mode delivers sharper brake and steering feel with more aggressive engine, transmission, and throttle tip-in calibrations. Natural mode is more of a comfort setting that keeps everything in balance for day-to-day use. Advanced efficiency should be used if you wanted to prioritize fuel economy, as it optimizes the car accordingly. If equipped with adaptive dampers, their firmness automatically varies based on change in road surfaces and driving behavior, but they can also be controlled by a button that would be located in the middle of the rotary dial where the drive modes are. As I've experienced with the Quadrifoglio, even when stiffened fully, the Giulia rides surprisingly well, and even in the standard configuration like our tester, the ride is tight but relatively supple, so it's still comfortable but handles excellent in the corners. The Giulia and Giulia TI are powered by a new 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder that develops a class-leading 280 horsepower at 5,200 RPM and 306 pound-feet of torque between 2,000 and 4,800 RPM. It's able to hit 60 miles an hour in just 5.1 seconds and reach a top speed of 149 miles per hour. The engine is smooth and surprisingly responsive, offering an impressive blend of flexibility when it comes to performance and fuel economy. While quiet and refined during normal use, harder acceleration brings out a sporty exhaust growl. Aluminum makes up most of the engine, including the block and head. The pistons are made from forged aluminum, while the crankshaft is made from forged steel. The valve train consists of a single chain-driven overhead camshaft and 4 valves per cylinder, with multi-air 2 dual variable valve timing and lift management. Fuel is delivered via high-pressure direct injection, accompanied by a compression ratio of 10 to 1. Maximum engine speed is 6,200 RPM. Air is forced in thanks to a single twin-scroll turbocharger. Being that this engine doesn't have a conventional intake and exhaust manifold, the intercooler bolts directly to the cylinder head intake port, while the turbo bolts directly to the cylinder head exhaust port. In Europe, the Giulia is available with either a 6-speed manual or a ZF 8HP50 8-speed automatic transmission. US cars are only offered with the automatic. Power is sent to the rear wheels unless you opt for all-wheel drive. With the available performance package on the Giulia TI, you also get a mechanical limited slip differential. While an amazing transmission in many regards, it can't replace the engagement of a good manual. What it does offer is dual clutch-like quickness, but with the smoothness of a conventional automatic. Gear changes occur in as little as 100 milliseconds, faster than a blink of an eye. Still, this might turn some folks off as the Cadillac ATS and BMW 3 Series still offer manuals, but I wouldn't let it sway you too far. Like I mentioned earlier, the Giulia offers such a rewarding driving experience that's simply unmatched by anything else that I've driven in this segment. If you opt for the Sport Interior package on the Giulia or the Performance package on the Giulia TI, you also get a set of massive aluminum paddle shifters. They feel great in your hands, and each shift is accompanied by a satisfying clink. Of course, you can also change gears manually by the console shifter. EPA estimates for rear-wheel drive Giulias range between 24 miles per gallon in the city and 33 miles per gallon on the highway. Expect an average of around 27 miles per gallon. All-wheel drive Giulias are rated at 23, 31, and 26 miles per gallon respectively. A minimum of 91 octane fuel is required, and it's all held within a 15.3 gallon tank. An auto start-stop system is standard. Something that should be really appreciated about this car is that it doesn't try to be anything else but an Alfa Romeo. This is especially important as you'd be hard-pressed to find any evidence of parts sharing between the Giulia and other FCA products. Everything from the thin-rimmed steering wheel to the switchgear and even the infotainment system are new. While it's not quite at the same level of quality as a BMW or Mercedes, the Alfa offers a very refined and well-built cabin that's both sporty and modern. What sets the Giulia apart from the competition is how it feels and appeals to your senses. The asymmetric layout of the dashboard is vibrant and artful with a notable dose of Italian flavor. Its driver-focused cockpit places all the important controls within immediate reach. Plus, there's a lot of ways to personalize the interior. Between the Giulia and Giulia TI, there's a lot of different options available, including luxury and sport seat styles, two-tone color themes, genuine wood trim, and more. Along with the Sport Appearance package, this example is equipped with the Sport Interior package, which adds aluminum interior trim, a sport leather steering wheel with a bright insert, aluminum pedals, and the aluminum paddle shifters. The Giulia TI comes with more standard features and even unlocks some exclusive options, the most significant being the Lusso package, which adds leather upholstery and accent stitching to the dashboard and door panels, as well as unique seats, a cabin air filtration system, and more. All Giulias feature an acoustic windshield and laminated side glass. Wind and road noise are kept to a bare minimum. The standard seats are 10-way power adjusting, including 4-way lumbar support. The driver also gets 3 memory presets. They offer a good blend of support and padding to ensure comfort remains a priority. The optional sports seats on the Giulia TI add power side bolsters and manual thigh support. A dual-zone climate control system is standard. Heated front seats are included in the optional cold weather package, in addition to a heated steering wheel and heated washer nozzles. Those features are standard on the TI. As far as safety, the Giulia's interior is protected by multi-stage front airbags, front seat-mounted side airbags, front and rear side curtain airbags, and knee airbags for the driver and passenger. With the Giulia's optional driver assistance static package, front parking sensors are added, which comes standard on the TI, along with blind spot monitoring, rear cross path detection, and auto-dimming side view mirrors. The drive assistance dynamic package adds adaptive cruise control with full stop, along with forward collision warning, automatic emergency braking, lane departure warning with steering assist, automatic high beams, and an infrared windshield. On the entry model, an 8-speaker audio system is standard along with a 6.5-inch infotainment system. Media choices include HD, AM, and FM radio, as well as Bluetooth streaming, USB, and auxiliary integration. Voice recognition is also standard. The larger 8.8-inch widescreen display shown here is a $500 option on the base Giulia and standard on the TI. Navigation and SiriusXM satellite radio are optional. Stepping up to the TI also unlocks the option of a 900-watt Harman Kardon audio system, which includes 14 speakers, a subwoofer, and a 12-channel amplifier. The infotainment system packs many of the features you'd expect out of a car like this nowadays, but it also includes some extra goodies like performance pages and telemetry data. The only things missing are some smartphone integration technologies such as Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, as well as touchscreen capability. The system is very intuitive and works sort of like a simpler version of BMW's iDrive system, right down to the rotary controller. The controller also incorporates a touchpad on top that can be used for various navigation functions.
Now let's go ahead and see how she sounds. Like I said earlier, if you'd like to learn more about the Quadrifoglio, be sure to check out my review. The link is in the top right hand corner of the video and in the description box below. Now let's go ahead and shut her down, and we'll head towards the back seat and check out overall space and amenities. The Giulia's back seat is pretty much exactly what you would expect out of this segment. It's not exceptionally roomy, but I'm 5'10", with an ideal seating position for myself in front. I still have probably an inch to an inch and a half of headspace and maybe even 3 inches of leg space, so I sit back here just fine. A couple key differences between a regular Giulia and the Quadrifoglio is that these actually have a 60-40 split rear seat, so you have a lot more practicality with stowing longer items, plus you have a fold-down armrest with 2 cup holders. As far as comfort, the Giulia's back seat is definitely on the firmer side, but you have pretty good support overall. Not a ton of lateral support, but excellent lower back support. You also have 3 adjustable headrests. As far as amenities back here, you have storage pockets on the back of the seats and small ones in the lower door panels. In the console, you have 2 adjustable air vents with a USB charging port. Up top, grip handles, coat hooks, and LED reading lamps, child seat anchors for both sides, and of course, side curtain airbags. So that's pretty much it for back here. Now let's head towards the rear and check out trunk space.
Out back, all Giulias have 13.4 cubic feet worth of space. It's a pretty good amount of space for this segment, and off to the left-hand side is a small cubby to stow some smaller items. One big difference between the Giulia TI, and the Quadrifoglio is that the Quadrifoglio does not have a foldable back seat. So with these, you have a lot more practicality because you could put that back seat down and expand the usable cargo space all the way to the front, so you can stow longer and larger items. The Giulia's battery is located in the trunk behind a panel on the right side. Well everyone, I hope you enjoyed the in-depth look at the Alfa Romeo Giulia. Be sure to stay tuned next time, leave a like and subscribe today, there's always a lot more where that came from. Take care everyone.